world. Welcome to World Humanitarian Drive's Inspiring Millions show. This is the show where we interview inspiring people from around the world to share with us their story. I'm Viva Andrada O'Flynn, your host and Global Media Relations of World Humanitarian Drive. Our special guest today, who we'll talk to in a while, is a respected educator, lawyer, mentor, and Secretary General of WHD Malaysia, Professor Dato Dr. GP Doraisamy Govindasamy. Thank you for joining us live or on replay. Here's a brief background about World Humanitarian Drive. World Humanitarian Drive, also known as WHD, is an international NGO founded in Croydon, UK by British Indian global peace activist, entrepreneur, writer, Dr. Abdul Basit Syed. The primary vision of WHD is to promote peace, education, and trade harmony initiatives globally. WHD promotes peace and harmony among everyone across the world, regardless of race, religion, or nationality, living as one family. On this Inspiring Millions show, we encourage you to engage with us. Please help us spread love and inspiration by sharing this link. Put your questions or comments in the chat box. Let us know where you are watching this. Wherever you are in the world, let us keep you company and brighten your day as we share love, peace, and inspiration. When we talk about inspiration, we also keep in mind those who inspired us to be the person we are today. For our sources of inspiration, we look up to our parents, our teachers, and mentors we meet along our life's journey. Today, our virtual stage takes us to Malaysia, where we have an in-depth conversation with a respected educator, lawyer, mentor, and Secretary General of WHD Malaysia. Here is more info about Professor Dato Dr. GP Doraisamy Govindasamy. Professor Dato Dr. GP Doraisamy is a self-made man from a humble background. His parents were brought into Malaysia as indentured laborers to work in the rubber estates in the early 1930s from South India. Professor Dato is a well-educated man and had spent almost 50 years in social volunteerism services, both in Malaysia and in foreign countries. He is a qualified English language teacher and taught in Malaysian schools and in Canada for almost 8 years. Later, he traveled and pursued law studies in London, UK, and upon return to Malaysia, he was an active practicing lawyer, advocates, and solicitors for more than 20 years in Malaysia. Keen to share his teaching knowledge and experiences, he opted to return into the education sector. He became a lecturer and facilitator in business law studies for the busy, matured working class students in the MBA degree and DBA PhD degree programs. With his Malaysian business partner, they ventured into the education business in 1998. This business has taken them into many Asian countries and in the Asia-Pacific regions. Being a Hindu, he has read and studied the Holy Quran, the Bible, the Bhagavad Gita, the Buddhist Dharma, and many other holy scriptures. He gives talks and attends dialogues on comparative, religious, and spiritual studies for many interfaith movements. In recognition of his educational qualifications and contributions in the education field for more than 40 years of teaching, he was selected for the awardship of professorship at Zurich, Switzerland in 2018 by the International Business School of Scandinavia. He is the legal advisor for many youth movements, sports clubs, social organizations, academic institutions, business companies, and corporations, both locally and internationally. In recognition of his 45 years social services, he was selected for the awardship of the prestigious Penang State Governor's Birthday Medal, Datukship, which carries the title of Dato in the year 2016. Namaste. Salamat datang. Welcome. Terima kasih. Thank you for joining us here today, Professor Dato, Dr. GP Doraisamy.
Thank you, Ms. Viva.
Yes, thank you, Professor Dato. So you are living a full life, rich with many achievements. Could you please give us a brief background about yourself? Please tell us in your story in your own words. Could you please introduce to the world who is Professor Dato?
Thank you, Ms. Viva. Well, you have done my work. You have already introduced me to the world. Well, anyway, as what you have mentioned in your welcoming introduction, my parents were migrants from India, from South India to Malaya in the early 1930s, and I was born in Malaysia during the British rule. So I was educated. My primary, my secondary, all my educations were all done in Malaysia. And upon graduating, my first profession was I became an English teacher, because my primary and secondary education were all in English. So I was selected for the English teaching course. So I became a qualified English teacher in Malaysia, wherein I worked for the government. I worked for the Malaysian government for almost seven over years. I worked for the Malaysian government, and I was very lucky to be chosen under one international program called the Malaysia-Canada International Youth Exchange Program, where way back in 1979, I was sent to Canada. I was in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, and I was an English teacher in Canada. People were very surprised because way back in 1979, most Canadians, the place where I was in, they don't know where is Malaysia. So I have to explain to them where Malaysia is situated. And they said, and you speak very good English. So I said, I'm a Queen's Scholar because I was born under the British colony. So they were very surprised. And of course, initially, they were very reluctant to hear me. But eventually, I became one of the best teachers in Canada for my English teaching. So then I came back. And when I came back to Malaysia, I had a different paradigm. I was thinking to myself, am I going to be a teacher? Am I going to be a teacher forever until I retire? The answer is no. Because Canada has opened up my mind. Canada has opened up my perspective. Because coming from a very undeveloped country, Malaysia, and going to a developed country, to Canada, so it has opened up my paradigm. So when I came back, my urge is to be somebody in the world. I want to be somebody in the world. But if I be a teacher, I'm going to be forever, I'm going to be a teacher. That is not going to help me. So I decided one day that I'm going to further my studies, and I'm going to pack up my bag and I'm going to go to London, which I did it way back in 1984. I packed up, I resigned from the government, I resigned as a teacher, and I left to London to do my law studies. So I was based in London for more than 3 years. That is way back in 1983, 84, 85, 86. I was in London, and I came back to Malaysia as a qualified lawyer in 1987. So when I became a lawyer, then I could see the world, because I'm a very professional man. I'm no more a teacher, I'm a professional man. So the people have so much of respect. So I was a legal man for almost 20 years in Malaysia. I'm a court lawyer. I go to court every day. I do criminal matters, I do civil matters. So every day people see me in the court. So one day I thought, am I going to be a lawyer forever? That was the same thing that I had before when I was a teacher. Now the same thing happened. Am I going to be in the court every day until I retire? And the answer is no. So I have to do something. By the time I was quite old, I was 50 years plus. Even my family was telling me, no, you are old to go back to do something now. You are already a lawyer. And why not you concentrate on your profession? I said, no, I want to go higher up. So at that age, I went and did my master's and my doctorate. I went back to education at 50 plus. Then I got my PhD, my doctorate, and my life changed, and I became a lecturer. But this time, I was a lecturer, I was a facilitator for the working class, for the matured working class students. Now, this profession took me the whole of Malaysia. I went the whole of Southeast Asia, the Asia region, and into Europe. So today I'm enjoying my life because why? I review myself every 10 years. I review myself. Am I in the right position or not? So today I'm moving around the world. Of course, now because of the COVID, I couldn't move. Otherwise, I'm somewhere in the world now. Because why? Because education has changed me. So education is something very important to me because my parents were very poor, but because of education, I made it in life in the world. I think that should be fine, Ms. Viva.
Yeah, I think it is great that you do self-review of your life constantly. So, with all your achievements, Professor Dato, what do you consider your greatest achievement so far, and what is the most defining moment of your life so far?
Yes. Well, I said that initially, way back in 1972, that is about 50 years back, I began to get involved in the youth movement in Malaysia. In the youth movement, I was way back in 1972, I was 17 years old. So I was eligible to become a member in the youth organization in Malaysia. So I became a member. So from there, I began to develop my leadership qualities. So I attended many leadership courses, district level, state level, and Malaysian level. So there they saw my leadership, and until when I came back from London as a lawyer, they saw me in a different perspective. This time they saw me in a different perspective. So I became a national leader. I became a national leader in Malaysia under the youth movement. So when they saw me with the leadership qualities, and they nominated me for the National Youth Leadership Award, which in 1992, I became the best youth leader of Malaysia. The best youth leader of Malaysia, that was in 1992. So my achievement, my greatest achievement in my life in the youth movement was becoming the best youth leader in Malaysia. Until now, the youth ministry, the youth movements, they know me. They know me very well because of my, till now, I'm a youth leader in Malaysia. I'm a youth advisor. I'm a youth consultant. I'm a youth paper presenter. I do present papers on youth in many countries. For more than 25 countries, I presented paper under the youth movement. So that is one of my greatest achievements in terms of youth movement. Now, in another way, in the legal profession, I became a lawyer. I went to London. I came back as a lawyer. But when I came back in 1987 from London, I went into the International Islamic University and became one of the first non-Muslim in Malaysia to do Sharia law, to master the Quran. I'm a Hindu, but I went into International Islamic University. I took the challenge and I qualified in Sharia law. That is way back in the year 2000. Now, that is the greatest achievement for a non-Muslim to master the Quran and to know the Sharia law. That was the greatest achievement. Now, till today, the Malaysian people, the Muslim, they have very high respect for me because I'm a Hindu. But my knowledge in Sharia, even though I'm a Hindu, but my knowledge in Islamic law, they understand. They have high respect. So these are
Yes.
two greatest achievements in my life. One being a youth leader and achieving the Sharia law in Malaysia, being one of the first non-Muslim in Malaysia. The greatest achievement which I can say to you now. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Professor Dato. So you've mentioned that when you were younger, you were a youth leader and you even won Malaysia's Best Youth Leader Award in 1992. So what is your message to today's youth, Professor Dato?
Well, there are so different in the youth movement today. Many people out there, they meet me, they say, Dato, the youth movement now is so different from those days. Those days, we do voluntary services. We never expect from the government. We never expect from anybody. We give our services. We give our whatever funds we have. We spend. But today's youth, today they are asking, what does the government give me? What can I get if I were to serve the government or if I were to serve the youth movement? What can I get? Those days, no. We were volunteers. We never asked for anything. We never expected anything. But today's youth, there's so much of expectation. Well, I understand that because why? Today, the world has changed. In the last 50 years or 30 years, the world has changed. So today there's more demand because today people are fighting for time, people are working for money, and they don't have much time to do voluntary work. Now, in my time, there were so many what they call poor people, many undeveloped areas which we can go and help them. But today, most areas have developed. Now today the problems are different. We have to see the youth problem today is a different problem. Today is more of the advanced because of the city life, because they are living in the towns. So today the life is different. So we have to train them. We have to give them skills training today in order to equip the present youth to the present moment, because today is a very advanced world. We are living in a digital world. We are living in a technological world. So today is different from what I did in my days. My days, there were no handphone. In those days, there were no handphone. Today, everything is done with handphones, with smartphones, with laptops, with computers. So we have to concentrate more on skills training for the youth of today, because we have to suit to the youth of the present youth a different mindset. They are different. They are expecting something for whatever they are doing service, whereas we never expected anything. We never expected. We were doing all on voluntary basis. So it's a different approach entirely.
What kind of training do you think the youth needs now, Professor Dato? Because you've mentioned all those things. So
the trainings are all skills training. Skills training means vocational training. Trainings that can engage them. They can go for a work. They can get a work later. Let's say they go for a 6 months skills training on motor repairing, for example, on electrical appliances repairing. So they do skills training, so that this training will give them job later. They must get a job, because not all youth are highly qualified. So the highly qualified youth, they go to universities, whereas those who are not qualified, these are the youth, the problematic youth. So we have to get this kind of youth, and we have to give them the skills training. It can be a short term, 3 months computer training, or 6 months on electrical courses, or maybe a 1 year course, or maybe 1.5 year course, skills training, so that they will enter into the job market later. Because the job market is very important, and they must have the skills training, and they must have the proper certificate in order to go into the into the job market. Yeah.
Yeah, to figure all of that, though, the youth also needs mentors to look up to. So, Professor Dato, who do you consider your personal heroes and why do you hold them in such a high regard?
Well, that's how to say that personal hero. I have because I came from a youth circle, from the youth circle. So I had a number of youth leaders. Today they are ministers. Today, one of them is also a governor of a state in Malaysia. So I consider, because being with them, knowing their abilities and how they have treated me, so I consider them as my youth leaders. That means I follow their leadership qualities. I'm talking about Malaysian youth leaders, who they are now. Some of them are ministers, and one of them has also been a governor at this moment. So to me, I respect these youth leaders because they came up from a nobody to a somebody, like what I consider. I was a nobody 50 years ago, but being in the youth circle, trained in the youth movement, and today, because of my education, because of my youth leadership, I am somebody. So I consider these leaders, my four leaders in the youth movements, as greatest example for me, because I'm not a politician, so I wouldn't know much about politics, because I'm a voluntary worker all this while. In the last 50 years, I'm a voluntary worker. So I consider all those social workers, all those voluntary workers out there as my heroes, whoever it is who are senior to me, and they're doing so much of work in Malaysia, and they are my heroes. Yeah. Thank you, Eva.
Yeah, thank you so much for that,
Yeah.
Professor. Okay, so you've been doing all sorts of things in life. So you became a teacher, a lawyer, and then a mentor. So are there moments in your life that you felt that you've made mistakes or failed at something? And what do you usually say to yourself when you fail at something? Because this is what the youth are concerned about failing. So what's your message to them?
Yeah. Many a times, uh, our decision in life matters most, because I consider, if you ask me what is success, a success is a decision that you make today. That is your success. So I decided that I will be a lawyer. I will be a teacher. That is way back in 1977, and I became a teacher. Then after 10 years or so in the teaching profession, I decided that I must educate myself, and I want to be somebody higher than a teacher. And I made a decision in 1983. I made a decision that I wanted to quit teaching and I want to do law. I was old enough. I was almost nearing 30 years old, packing up my bag and leaving to London at that age. People will go overseas studies at the age of 19 or 20 or 21. Here, I'm going at the age of 29. I'm leaving to London. Because why? I made a decision. So I was in London. I worked hard for myself. I never failed in any subjects in all my law studies. And I got through and I came back. But after working for almost 20 years as a lawyer in Malaysia, then I felt that I have to do something again. Again, I have to make a decision. Because I'm not telling that whatever past decision I made is wrong. No. It is my personal review. Because why? I want to better myself. This is my personal review. I want to better myself. So, after 20 years in the legal profession, I went back to do my master's and doctorate. It means I spent another 3 years to do my master's and doctorate. And of course, when I came back with a doctorate, the whole world was mine. There's no limit to the sky. Because why? With a doctorate and with a legal background, I was somebody in Malaysia. And with so many years of experiences in the youth movement, I was somebody. So the Ministry of Youth, many ministries were calling me to present papers because they know that I'm a paper presenter. They know my English is good. So I was traveling to many countries in Southeast Asia, in the Asia region, in the Asia Pacific region, to Australia, to New Zealand, to present papers on youth movements, on social enterprises. So to me, there are regrets sometimes. There are regrets in life. But that regret should not overwhelm your future. So I made sure that I must better myself from what I did in the last 10 years or in the last 20 years. So that is what I did. So today, I would say that I've achieved what I wanted. I went to about 8 universities, which means I got eight degrees now. And on top of that, I'm doing my second doctorate now. That is my 9th degree now. So to me, education, because my parents were very poor people. As I said, they were laborers from India. They can't even afford to give me $1. So I was a poor man. But the only way that I can come up is education. So I made sure that with education, I can build up myself and I can be somebody in the world. So a decision, to me, a decision is very important. Anyone who wants to make up in their life, they have to make a decision. And that decision is their success. So the definition of success is what? It's a decision. The decision that you're going to make today, this is what you're going to be in the next 10 years or in the next 20 years. So I have went through many challenges, many trials and tribulations in my life, but ultimately I have overcome all through sheer determination, sheer perseverance, and sheer commitment. So you must have the determination, you must have the commitment, and you must have the perseverance to do something new. So with that, but one thing you must remember, never ever give up. That is my motto. Never ever give up. I will never give up. If I'm going to do something, I will never give up. And that is that motto that inspires me until today. And that brought me to this level. Because why? Never ever give up. Thank you.
It's very admirable, Professor Dato. So you've never let your age stop you and just make a decision to succeed and never give up. So,
Yes.
Professor Dato, what do you feel most grateful for in life? With everything that you've achieved in life, what do you feel most grateful for in life?
Well, God is great. God is great. Even though I came from a very poor family, my siblings were 11 of us, 11 siblings in my family, and I'm number 8. And number 8, I was born a handicap. I'm a physically handicapped person. I'm the only one in 11 of us. I'm the only one born as a physical handicapped person, and I'm number 8. So I'm registered with the physically handicapped person in Malaysia. I'm a registered handicapped person, and today I'm the legal advisor. I'm the legal advisor of the Malaysian Physical Handicap Society from Malaysia. So today, I never let my handicapness to blind me or to bring me down. In fact, whatever handicap that I have, my physical handicap, I make sure that I'm a normal person, because my parents brought me as a normal person. They never told me that I'm a handicapped person. So my mindset, the mindset is very important. Your mindset, you must have the positive mind. So I had a positive mind all this while, that I should never give up, and I must strive. Whatever that I aim for, I must work hard. Nothing comes rolling to your feet. Nothing will come smooth sailing to your feet. No, you have to work hard for it, which I did it. All this while, because I said earlier, never, never, never ever give up. I have failed in so many exams. I have failed many, many, many times. But because of my attitude, because I never, never give up. First failure, second failure, third failure, fourth failure, fifth failure, sixth failure, seventh failure, eighth failure, ninth failure. I went through failure after failure after failure. But on the ninth try, I made it. And that's why you can see me today here. Because why? I made it for 9 consecutive years. For 9 consecutive years, I never gave up. If I would have given up in the first year, you won't be seeing me today here. Because of that attitude, which I built because I was in the youth movement, and I was a teacher, I was a lawyer, I had that attitude, never give up. So to me, I will tell that if you want to do something, put your mind, put your will, and don't give up because of one failure. Every failure is a success to me. To me, every failure is a success. I learned every failure. All those inventors, all those adventurers, they have failed many, many times, 1,000 times, and finally they became somebody. So to me, you must accept failure as a challenge. You must accept failure as the next step for your success. That is what I would say. So failure is in my diary, but failure will never stop me by trying for the next time. I will try until I get it. And that is how I made it today. Because why? I never gave up.
You are definitely somebody. Professor Dato, you are the Secretary General of WHD Malaysia as well. So, what are your future plans for WHD Malaysia?
Well, that's a very good question. Well, I met our founder, President Dr. Abdul Said Bashir in Korea. I was attending a World Peace Summit in Korea in Seoul way back in 2019, and I met him. I met our Dr. Abdul Bashir in Korea, and we exchanged our business card. I don't know him, and then 1 week later he called me from London. I was back in Malaysia and said, "Doctor, I'm appointing you as the SG, Secretary General of Malaysia." I was very surprised. He said, "For me to become the Secretary General of Malaysia is something a great honor." I said, "Yes, I really understand, and I like you. I want you to be the Secretary General." So I accepted. That is way back in 2019. Since then, I've been helming this post as the SG of Malaysia. Well, so far we are doing very well. Malaysia is doing well. I think WHD HQ London also knows that Malaysia is doing very well under our leadership. And I wanted a few organizations have won some best award. Last year we had a special award for Malaysia, and nine nominees won this award from London under WHD. Now I have selected about 5 organizations in Malaysia for them to be put in the international level, international platform. Now the number one, we have one of the handicap society we call the PWD, People with Disability Smart Farmability. The chairman is Dr. Billy Tang. He's a social enterprise. They do urban farming. Now he is a handicapped man. He met with an accident in 2015, Dr. Billy Tang. So he is the founder, chairman of PWD Smart Farmability. Now we are going to sign an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, with WHD London very soon. Most likely in March, WHD Malaysia and WHD HQ London will be signing for PWD Smart Farmability. Because why? Because this organization is helping the handicapped people, is helping the poor people, all those people who have been marginalized people, and for them to, their motto is to end hunger, to end hunger. There must be no hunger in the world. So they have got many awards, and they are one of the best social enterprise in Malaysia at the moment. They have won the best award, and so we are going to take them to the international level very soon. This is the PWD Smart Farmability. Now, next we have the Pure Life Society. Pure Life Society was founded in 1950, and the chairman, the founder, is none other than Mother Mangalam. Mother Mangalam is today, she's 95 years old. 95 years old, and she's the founder of Pure Life Society. Now, they are giving food for people, children, poor people. They have about 70 over children in their homes. They have a home, 70 over children who come from poor families, who come from broken families, from the age of 5 to 17. So, and they are going to give a lot of trainings, skills training, cooking, farming, dance classes, yoga, self-defense classes for all these youth. And they also run classes, interfaith talks, seminars. So this is another very interesting society. And we are going to bring Pure Life Society to the world stage, because they are the best in Malaysia. They are one of the best in Malaysia. So we want WHD to be recognized internationally. So we're going to bring them. And also we have another organization we call Sneham. Sneham is an organization that looks for people with suicidal, depression, stress, anxiety, this kind of people. And they're one of the foremost association in Malaysia, they call Sneham. And this is under Dato Dr. Florence. Dato Dr. Florence is the chairman, and she's doing so well. They have got tele-counseling, they do advocacy, and they do collaboration with the government, with the NGOs in Malaysia. And they are doing great job in Malaysia. And they must be also recognized internationally through our WHD HQ London. And of course, number 4, we have the Malaysian Corruption Watch. The Malaysian Corruption Watch was founded by Tuan Haji Jais. And I'm one of the co-founder of Malaysian Corruption Watch. And we work very closely with the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission. And you know, today, corruption is the #1 enemy. So today, we wanted to bring Malaysian Corruption Watch to the international scene. That is what I wanted to. I've identified this organization so that with WHD HQ, we can bring them to the international, maybe to the United Nations level in the years to come. And of course, I have one more, number 5, is we call it Humanity Malaysia. Now, Humanity Malaysia, the secretary is our member is Mr. Ahmad Tarmizi. He's also in our WHD Malaysia, and the founder is Tan Sri Dr. Syed Hamid Alba. And they do humanitarian work, they do advocacy work, they do so many other engagement work. They do work in Myanmar, in Indonesia, in Bangladesh, and the whole of Malaysia. So humanity is also involved in education, in talent development, with refugees, refugee schools and centers. So we wanted to bring this five organizations under WHD Malaysia to the world level. And how to bring that? We want WHD HQ, headquarters in London, to bring them to the world level so that they can be recognized at the world stage. And this is my ambition for WHD Malaysia in the next coming years, and the short term, probably in the next 2 to 5 years. And all these 5 organizations, as I told you earlier, number 1 is PWD Smart Farmability. Then I told you about the Pure Life Society, Sneham, Malaysian Corruption Watch, and also Humanity Malaysia. So these are the 5 organizations which I have identified in Malaysia to bring them to the international level. With that, probably I have done my work to the international level. And I know that our founder chairman, Tuan Abdul Bashir, he knows about this. And so I have to bring them to the world. And it is only through my leadership that we have to push them up to the world. If you don't bring them up, nobody will know them who they are. So that is my ambition for WHD Malaysia, Ms. Viva.
Thank you, Professor Dato. So we're really looking forward to WHD activities and events of WHD Malaysia. And so now for our final question, Professor Dato, what is your inspiring message to the world?
Wow, wow, that's another very tough question.
Our show is called Inspiring Millions Show. So
well, whatever I've said, I got to recollect back, as I said, never, 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 ever give up. My message to the world, to inspire the millions out there. If you want to success, you have to meet failure. There's no success without failure. I repeat, there's no success without failure. With failure comes success. So you have to face the challenges. You have to face the trials. You have to face the tribulations. You have to face the obstacles. Once you face all these challenges, only then you can succeed. And then when you succeed, that success will stay with you forever. It will be with you forever. So what I would say that youngsters or middle age or even the elderly people face challenges. I face challenges every day. I face challenges. But what keeps me going? Because why? Because I never, ever give up. You must have that attitude. This is what I'm telling the millions out there, the youth out there. Face challenges, but never give up. Because why? Then you can become a leader. People need you. The world needs good leaders. WHD is here. And I'm going to train more leaders in Malaysia. There are so many leaders looking up for WHD. And I'm going to train these leaders in the future to become world leaders. Because why? As what Mahatma Gandhi said. Mahatma Gandhi, who advocated peace for India, he said, even if I have one follower, I'm a leader. A leader doesn't need 1,000, 1 million followers. He said, even if I have one follower, and I call myself as a leader. That is what my motto. I follow the Gandhian strategy, Mahatma Gandhi strategy. In order to be a leader, you can have only one follower and successful. You must make sure that your follower succeeds. And that is my motto for WHD Malaysia. And I want to bring more leaders into the world stage. Thank you.
thank you, Professor Dato. I will amplify your message. You said there is no success without failure. Terima kasih. Thank you for enriching our lives today by sharing with us your life experiences and wisdom. There is a quote by William A. Ward. The mediocre teacher tells, the good teacher explains. The superior teacher demonstrates. The great teacher inspires. Thank you for being our great teacher today and inspiring us, Professor Dato, Dr. GP Doraisamy, Govindasamy, respected educator, lawyer, mentor, and Secretary General of WHD Malaysia. Terima kasih. Thank you for joining us here today. This has been Thank you. This has been World Humanitarian Drive's Inspiring Millions show. If today's discussion inspired you, please share the link with your family and friends. Share with us your takeaways from today. Follow us on our social media accounts. Click subscribe on our YouTube channel, WHD Media. Visit our WHD website, www.whd.org.uk for more inspiring events. Stay safe and healthy, everyone. To our frontliners, we salute you. We thank you for your sacrifices and dedication to humanity. On behalf of WHD team, especially those working behind the scenes, WHD Chairman Dr. Abdul Basit Syed, WHD Director of Global Operations, Ms. Sarah Wilson, we thank you, our virtual audience, for joining us. I'm Viva Andrada O'Flynn. Please join us again next week as we have a discussion with Mr. Eugene Ankuma, International Visual Artist and Secretary General of WHD UK, as we inspire the world here on Inspiring Millions Show.